Hello, and welcome to the University of Colorado REDCap tutorial. I'm Amanda, one of the REDCap administrators here at UC Denver. In these videos, you're going to learn a little bit of background information about REDCap and REDCap at the University of Colorado. We'll go over some basic policies and procedures, and then we'll jump into REDCap itself and walk through how you create a project, some special features you can use, how a survey works in REDCap, and how you can do a longitudinal study using REDCap. Let's get started. REDCap stands for Research Electronic Data Capture. It is a semi-open source software that is owned by Vanderbilt University. However, there is a large consortium of institutions who also use REDCap, who work together to help provide suggestions on how REDCap can progress in the future, troubleshoot bugs, and to develop additional features for REDCap. At the University of Colorado Denver, REDCap is underwritten by CCTSI, the Colorado Clinical and Translational Sciences Institute. So if you're going to be using REDCap, we ask that you join CCTSI. Membership is free. The UC Denver instance of REDCap is also for IRB approved or exempt protocol data only. So you must provide your IRB approval number before you begin collecting data. You do not need your IRB number to start creating your project. If you are at the Children's Hospital, there is a second instance of REDCap there. This instance of REDCap can be used for non-research related projects. If you're using this REDCap, your login will be linked to your children's system account. To use REDCap, the first step is to watch these tutorial videos and complete the quiz. Next, if you don't have a UC Denver email address, you'll need to submit a REDCap user account application. You'll receive an email with a link to this form. If you do have a UC Denver email, then your REDCap account will be linked to those credentials, and you can log in using your UCD login and password. Your REDCap credentials will update anytime you change your UC Denver login or you update your UC Denver password. After you have created your account, you'll be ready to create your REDCap project. You can create a database or a survey, and you can use surveys within your databases. You'll design your database and your survey forms. Once you have everything completely designed and you've tested it multiple times, you'll be ready to submit a request to move your REDCap project to production. Here's where you'll be required to provide your IRB approval number if it's applicable. There are a few exceptions to when you can use REDCap without the IRB approval number. If you think you have a valid exception, send us an email and we'll see if it fits in with the right criteria. Moving your project to production also institutes some safeguards for your project. Any changes you make that could have a negative impact on your data, such as miscoding your variables or deleting data, will have to go through approval with one of the REDCap administrators. This is for your protection, and it's a really good idea to make sure you move your project to production before you start collecting real data. After your project's been moved to production, you'll be ready to start collecting data. When you have all your data, you'll be ready to export your data for analysis. A REDCap project database has multiple stages. The first stage is development. Here is where you're going to create your project and edit your database forms. You're going to want to test your database as much as you can to make sure that you're collecting all the information that you're going to need and that the flow of information works well for your project. You're also going to want to make sure that any additional special things you do, like branching logic or calculated fields, are working correctly. After you've tested your database thoroughly, you'll submit a request to move it to production. Moving to production requires the approval of a REDCap administrator. When you submit your database for production, we'll run a quick check on the data dictionary to see if it meets some general best practices standards. If you want us to take a closer look at your project, please send us an email and let us know. Our general policy is to get back to any request or question within 24 hours, Monday through Friday. If you know that you're going to need some help on a REDCap project over the weekend, please just let us know ahead of time and we'll keep an eye out for it. However, if you don't let us know ahead of time, it'll probably have to wait till Monday. Any changes that you make after moving your project to production will require approval. If there's no risk of the changes harming your data, REDCap will approve it automatically. If your proposed changes could harm your data, REDCap will send an email to the REDCap administrators, and we will review the changes and either approve them or send you an email verifying that the changes that are going to be made are actually what you want to do with your data. Finally, you can archive projects. This will remove the project from your list of project databases. Your project can be returned to production at any time, and it will be stored on the REDCap servers for at least 7 years. This simply removes some clutter on your REDCap homepage. There are a few useful tips that you can remember when you're creating your project database in REDCap. The first thing to remember is with each variable, the subject ID or record ID must be the first variable on the first form. This ID is going to be unique to each record. Secondly, variable names will only contain lowercase letters, numbers, and underscores. You can't use spaces in these fields. To make data entry as easy and clean as possible, use drop-down menus and validated text fields whenever possible. This will save both you and your data entry people a fair amount of time and headache, because they'll never need to go and look up a value or a spelling, and REDCap will flag it immediately if they enter something that may just be a typo. You can also use field notes to indicate required units or formats. Group similar variables together on separate forms and keep the forms fairly short. There are two reasons that you're going to want to do that. One is that it's really just easier for people to enter in many short forms than it is to try and enter in one incredibly long form. The other reason is that REDCap forms aren't saved constantly. They are saved when you click the Save button at the bottom of the form. If you have a very long form, then you run the risk that there might be a technical error like a blue screen, or that the data entry person's REDCap session might time out before they finish entering data into the form and hit the Save button. You'll want to identify all potential protected health information so that you can strip away that data before exporting. Finally, REDCap is capable of doing calculations, but it's not really designed as a statistical tool. Only include calculations in your REDCap database if they're necessary. Otherwise, consider handling that after the data has been exported to a package that is designed to run statistics, for example, SAS, SPSS, Stata, or R. This will lead to cleaner analysis, and your statistics person is probably going to want to rerun any calculations themselves just to verify everything. REDCap office hours for both Linda Carlin and Amanda Miller are available by appointment. Please just send an email and we'll get back to you to set up a time. When you are ready to publish, we ask that you recognize CCTSI in the publication and also REDCap. You can see how to cite REDCap by going to www.project-redcap.org/cite.php. If you ever have any questions, please always feel free to contact us at redcap@ucdenver.edu. Next, we'll look at how to log into REDCap and how to begin creating your project.